Hey Hyper Spinners, this is part 2 to the Rocket Launcher series. Today we're going to be talking through the global settings and getting things set up for the first time. I just opened up Rocket Launcher UI in the Rocket Launcher UI folder, and here we go. So up at the top, we've got all the tabs that we're going to be setting up, and off to the left, we've got the systems and global. So what we care about right now, because this is a brand new install for you guys, is we are selecting global. You won't be seeing a lot of these systems until you actually add those to Hyperspin, which I'll show you guys how to do that in a later tutorial. So you guys are going to just see global. Yeah, I'm very confident that's all you'll see. To be honest, guys, if it was me, I wouldn't mess with the buttons up at the top here. You could add a system through here. You could delete it. You could rename it, reload, or edit a database. You're going to do all of that through the Hyperspin tools. So really our focus here is just opening up Rocket Launcher UI and updating these tabs whenever we're adding a new system. But you're going to be focused on the specific system that you select here. So the global, once you've set that up, which we're going to be doing now, you're not going to be touching that really ever again unless you've got like an add-on that you want to focus on. So let's get started. We are under the general settings, and now we're under Rocket Launcher here. You're going to want to make sure that you pull up your Hyperspin folder that has Rocket Launcher in it. You're going to have that just sort of on the side here. And what we're going to do is we are just going to complete these paths. We are going to want to make sure that all these exist. So, you know, if you ever take an example from my Mega or someone else, you're going to want to make sure that you modify all the paths with your actual path. So module path, you're going to go to Rocket Launcher modules, and if you've unzipped everything based on how the package is set up, this should be a very quick thing because you've put everything in the right structure, and if you move things around, it'll become a hot mess real quick, and you guys will give up instantly. Trust me on that. So you want to keep things nice and tidy. Rocket Launcher Media, so you're going to set that up to Rocket Launcher Media, and there's my media folder. The profiles, so this is for your mapper. You're going to select media, so you can select the magnifying glass here and, you know, find your path here. I'm not going to go ahead and do that. Your base ROM path, so wherever you are storing your games, you're going to want to store them in a single file. So within that file, you'll have system names. So again, keeping things very nice and clean here. And then your default front end path. So we're using Hyperspin, so we're going to select Hyperspin and then the XE. And then we're scrolling down. We've got the base settings, emulator idle shutdown. I think this comes default 900,000 milliseconds. Launch password, I'm pretty sure that's already in there. I've never touched it. This apparently is to keep your cab friendly. Only keys defined as Rocket Launcher navigation keys are accepted. I've got nothing in there, so yeah, we're just going to skip over that. This is very important here. So the default plugin. So you're going to see, you know, if I were to switch front ends ever with Rocket Launcher, you're going to want to make sure that this default front end path is changed, and then your default plugin is changed. So since we're using Rocket Launcher, since we're using Hyperspin, we're using Hyperspin for both paths and dropdown. And we've got the air sounds enable. That's personal preference for you. I like them because it wakes you up, kind of scares you a little bit. And then we've got the logger. So as you guys are setting this up, you guys are going to want to make sure that this is set to troubleshooting. It's going to tell you exactly what the error is and where it's happening. The only downfall of having troubleshooting on is since it has to write to a file, it does take some extra seconds when an error does happen because it's logging that event. Once you have things set up and it's not erroring out, I prefer having logging level off because either I know what's happening when I see the error, or I just don't have the error. So this logging event basically allows you to see under the log viewer. It gives you all the steps that happen on the back end, and it shows you exactly where the issue is happening. So I've got this set to off, but go ahead and set that to troubleshooting. Everything else I think is predefined, the 2 checkboxes here. And we're gonna move on to the next tab here. So I'm still under general settings. You notice how the tabs kind of cascaded here or fell. It's because I just shrunk the Rocket Launcher UI. So next, within the general settings, I'm gonna hit controls. This is gonna be where you set up all of your controls. And this is gonna be where like pause, like those controls happen. What you're going to want to do is streamline your controls for your Joy 2 key as well, just to make things as easy as possible. You can, of course, make these controls whatever you like, but it might cause you more pain in the long run. You want to kind of keep things all the same whenever possible. So the exit script, this is, if you are launching a game and, you're panicking because it's not closing, these are the keys that you'll basically use. You will need the tilde, but this is basically saying if I push Q and S together, it will basically kill Rocket Launcher. Or I could just hit Control Shift Escape, and it's going to pull up the task manager here, and I could just go straight down here and kill Rocket Launcher if I'm in a bind. But whatever works for you guys is what you're going to be using. Next, we've got toggle cursor. I've never used this. I tend to hide the cursor whenever I'm using Rocket Launcher. Navigation, so you're going to set these up. You're just going to push the little A button, and you're going to find this interface throughout this setup. But basically, all you're going to do is you're going to push the plus sign, and then once you do that, you're going to see that that's now gray, and you're going to just click within this, and you're going to click capture hotkey. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to ask you to put something in there. So I'm going to push up, and yeah, it didn't read anything because I wasn't in time. Also the press mode. So you'll want to select a single for that. And, if you were to push that again and then push up, you can see there it populates, and then you'll hit save. And that's going to populate everything over here. I'm going to not save that because I've already set that up, but you can see you can set up multiple as you just hit the plus sign again, and you'll, click single yes. And yeah, that's it. You can delete the entry if you mess up by pushing the X. And you'll do that for every one of these buttons. You can see everything's very similar. You can have multiple buttons for the same key press. So that is that. Fades. So as you launch a game or exit a game, it's called a fade. So you can pass that fade. It's the interrupter key. I've got it set to escape. You can, again, set it to whatever you want. Multi-game, if I've never actually used this, but I set the keys up anyway. It brings up the multi-game feature. I literally have never used that. Next, we got pause. So this is how you pause your game and enter your media. So we've got basically code for these keys here. Sometimes that does that. I'm not sure why, but activation key. Basically, you're going to want to use a 2-key press. So And what I mean is when you push the plus sign, you click single, for instance, and what you do is like this. I held down 1 and then I pressed H. So then again, you're pushing the camera button, then you're holding down 1, pressing H, and it's going to allow you to get the 2 key presses. So that's going to allow you to get to hyper pause. So that's essentially saying, for me at least, that's start and the A button. But you can use whatever you like there. You know, these other instances are for like player 2. I've got the start button and button A for player 2. So that is to activate pause. And then the move back feature. So as you enter the pause menu, you'll push the back button. So that's like my B button. So I've set that to 0. And then my other players. Screenshot if you need it. Zoom in, zoom out. I never use that, but you know, it's there. So next we've got third party. We're going to click that tab. And now you need a virtual drive. So this is going to allow you to launch files that are in ISO format. So think like Sega CD or something. So you've got to get daemon tools. The latest version, the latest version that Rocket Launcher basically supports for daemon tools, or is actually working, I should say, is daemon tools 10, or you know, lower versions. Anything above daemon 10, it doesn't seem to work with Rocket Launcher, so just keep that in mind. You're going to say add a drive, so this is part of the setup for daemon tools, but whenever one of those systems require daemon tools, what it'll do is it'll create a virtual drive. I've got mine set to F. Microsoft's always wanting me to set up my Outlook. So annoying. So drive, maybe you guys should create a tutorial on how to turn that thing off. So this drive letter, it's going to create a virtual drive on the back end, and then it'll remove itself after the game's gone. But I've set that to F. Just don't set it to the path of your drive. It's got to be something different. And then the SCSI drive letter as well. So some games require a slightly different launch in daemon tools, and you just want to set that to a letter different from the other drive that you've just set up, and any other drive that you have in existence. You want new drives that are happening on the back end, and they'll close themselves when they're done. This 7Z, basically you want to make sure that you have an application called 7Z that's going to unzip your large files. You can find that, just Google 7Z or 7zip, and you'll be able to download that XE. And what you'll want to do is drop that XE in your module extensions folder, and then I created a 7Z folder and I dropped it in there. So again, your paths have to exist. Don't just go off what my tutorial is, because you probably don't have an E drive. Maybe you do. Then you could literally use my same settings if you really wanted to. Anyway, so here's the number of games that we were talking about. So I've got a number of 3 games per system, and then after I launch a 4th game, it's going to delete the 4th extracted game. It's not going to delete your game, it's going to delete the extraction. So you'll have to re-zip it or unzip it if you want to launch a different game. It's just to save you some time. So that's what that delete per system is. It's, again, not deleting your game, it's just deleting the number of extractions that happen outside of this number. Keymapper, so you're going to set up I had XPattern going, that was a mistake, but it might work out for you guys. It didn't work out for me. It's the same setup as Joy2Key, just was not responsive for me. Joy2Key, set up your Joy2Key XE. Again, check out my video that talks about installing this. It's pretty easy to do. And you're just going to point it to the XE that you place. And then here's another important thing, front-end profile name. we've got Hyperspin, and we've got your front end profile. So since I'm using Joy2Key, I've got Joy2Key selected. And then I'm enabling the Rocket Launcher profile, and the custom joystick is set to check. Custom joystick name, if I push this little button here, it's going to show me all the controllers that I have over here, and I'm just going to click the Xbox controller, and I'm going to push this little arrow to move that over. So that will be my player 1, if you will. So you can see I can name that by double clicking that. Almost done, guys, with this tab here. It's going to go much quicker after this. VJoy, I don't have this set up, but I have the XEs set up here in case I ever do need one. And then Betabright, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Hi2Text. You guys are going to want this. If you guys have seen a prior video, you know what this is. Hi2Text is allowing you to show high scores and name, and it shows up on Hyperspin. You'll want this. So in your module extension, so this is different from the XE itself from that video. So in the module extensions, you'll find this Hi2Text XE here, and you'll just point it to that. Next we've got, I'm not sure what this is, but it is required. This, well, I'm just going to scroll over the eye. It apparently is the version that will use Rocket Launcher to call the, so it's some mumbo jumbo happening on the back end that really means something and is important, but we don't really care on how that works because it will just work. So just point to your module extension folder. You'll find this DXWNDXE, and then we've got Demule Shooter. This is used in case you have a light gun. If you download Demule, that's an emulator. You know, I think it's for the Dreamcast and some other systems, but Demule Shooter gets dropped into that Demule folder. I'm specifically using 0.07a. Works out good, and the Demule Shooter is version 7D. You'll just point that to your XE if you have it, and that is it for the general settings. This is global, so you don't have to worry about messing with this again, as long as you don't change your front ends. And if you do, you've got to change a couple drop downs. Your default plugin you'll want to change, and also your default front end path here. Next, we've got the settings tab. So a lot of these are going to be default already for you guys. I'm going to kind of open this up so it looks less intimidating. Again, up here, I don't ever mess with these buttons. I'm always using Hyperspin tools or HyperHQ to get the job done. So I'm going to ignore these up top. I'm in the main settings folder, and what I typically do, you can see I've set all these to false. You can change these if you want. If you don't want the cursor to ever display on you, you can set that to true. Hide desktop, you know, I've had problems with that, so I keep it at false. And also suspend front end. The only time that I've got suspend front end on is on PC games. But yeah, just keep everything default and we'll move on. Controls. So this is how you exit a game. What's important is you've got a 2-key press, because some emulators, you know, if you push escape, it does something else. So you can see I've got escape as an option, and I've got tilde in front of it, tilde escape. If you push the button here and you basically do the key press of pushing the plus sign and then clicking the camera and pushing escape, it'll do it for you automatically. But that tilde says that, you know, it's a single press here. But in terms of these dual press here, you're going to want to make sure it's single. And what this is this is my start and my select button for player 1 and player 2. So I press and hold, you know, 5 and then 1. So select and then start, and that allows me to exit the game on a controller or, you know, my cabinet as well. So we're going to keep going here. and exit, restore front end on exit is false. All that's false. Virtual drive we're enabling is false. SCSI we're enabling true. These are our default setups that we're selecting here. So as we are creating a new system, your new system is just going to copy these and it's going to say use global default. So this is a one-time thing, guys, and it's going to be a lot less painful. So 7Z, you're going to select that as false initially. You'll change that per system, and attach system name, I've got true. Delete temporary files, I've got true, and then the file extension. You're going to want to make sure that this really needs to be displayed here. You're going to want to put zip, then pipe, rare pipe, 7Z pipe, LHA pipe, LZH pipe, G zip pipe, TAR. That's going to cover pretty much everything you can think of. Next, we've got the extraction path. So remember, I told you to create that 7Z extract folder. You're going to put in that path there by pushing that little magnifying glass. All these are set to false in the CP wizard. I think that comes default. LED blinky, I don't have LED buttons yet, but I'd like to, and I promise I'll do a tutorial once that happens. So I've got false right now. Stats I've got set to true. In settings I've got match extension, you want that set to true, and then all these are set to false. Next we got mappings. So I'm under settings, mappings. Enabled, I'm saying key mapper is true. Joy ID, I've got set to false. I'm using Joy2 key as the mapper, and the auto hotkey is set to false. The preferred controllers, I'm going to push the little control button, and I'm going to find all the controllers that I have over here, and I'm going to push the left arrow to bring them all over here. I use BlissBox, so that's why I've got all these 4 ports over here. And I've got, VJoy virtual joystick. That's going to be important for you guys. Next, preferred controller on exit, so same sort of gig. You're going to select all those same controllers that you just selected. You're going to push that left arrow to bring those over. Notice that my aim track guns are not over there. I'm only using those on an emulator basis. So this is, for the front end and pause. So that's what that's all about. Keyboard encoders, I've got set to false. I don't have an Altimark controller, so I've got all that set to false. And I've got VJoy set to false. So moving on, so it's going to get quicker, guys. So all this, this is the fade. So this is going to be what fade in is. So when you launch a game, you could essentially see a loading screen. I set that to true, and I've got that set to default animated fade in. That's the best one to do. You can customize it if you go crazy on this thing, or use the old way, but it's just not as good. Prior to Rocket Launcher, it was known as Hyper Launch. And this is light years ahead of what that was before. Duration of how long that fade in happens, so I've got 500 milliseconds, and then I've got a delay of 3000 milliseconds, and then exit delay is 0. Play sounds is true. You get like a bump and beat when you're unzipping some of the bigger games. Fade out, this is going to be when you exit an emulator. We're setting that to true. We've got the default animated fade out, same sort of gig. We got duration 500, delay 2000, exit delay 500. So you can see it's still the same duration here. Extra screen I've got set to false. All this other stuff I'm pretty sure came default with the setup here, but you can just mask or mirror what I've got here. Backgrounds, all this, I'm pretty sure came default as well, but you can see here you're going to match up stretch, and no alignment. These are just the backgrounds. So when you've got the fade in screen, I basically have an overlay of the console, and that's your extra layer 1 console. That's the name of the file, which you'll have included in that media pack if you downloaded that. And yeah, next we've got layer 3. So again, it's just how your fade in works. So you can just mask or mirror what I've got here, and like 100% sure this came default set up for you already. So fade info, we've got the font. You will have to, so one thing that your system might not have is this Babus Neo. It's Bebasneue. Hyperspin and Rocket Launcher does not come packaged with this font. You won't be able to launch, I'm pretty sure, Rocket Launcher until you get this font. So what you'll do is you'll just Google Babus Neo font and download it, and yeah, and you'll just open that exe. I'm pretty sure I've got that somewhere in one of these folders here. I'm not going to go hunting for it. It might be in my, I'm not sure. I'm not going to waste your guys' time here. It's already a long one. So just download it, open the exe, and it will ask you to add the font, and you'll just hit OK, and then magic will happen, and it'll just work. So next we've got visibility. All this came default, I believe. You'll just mask or mirror what I've got here. I don't know why I keep saying mask. Appearance. All of this came default. I think this, I feel like I customized it. The game info order. You can change the order here by pressing the little button there, and then you can just drag the things over. I mean, I care about the developer and the publisher, but it was just too much information for me to display on my fade. So you can customize your fade there. And stats, if you want to see the number of times you played, you can enable that with text. What I found most clean for me was the total time played, the system total time played, and the average time played. The other stuff I set to disable. And then the appearance, so on your fade, so when you launch a game, it's going to display something for like 10 seconds. This is what we're setting up here. So I've set this up to the bottom right position, so that's where all that text is going to display, and it's going to display in order of the number of times played, and then pipe, last time played, average time played, total times played. Again, you just click the little paper and then you drag it all over there. And those selections come from the things that you've selected up above. Yeah, so let's keep going. We've got, and keep in mind, guys, the settings tab is the longest one out of all of them. Fade progress, we've got the animation set to default fade, and image and bar, and show 7-zip progress. So as it's unzipping, it'll fill up a loading bar. I feel like this is already default, so I'm going to scroll down here. Progress bar, I'm setting the background color to true. I'm pretty sure that this was default as well. And the extraction progress text. This was also defaulted. So loading game, the percent text is true. Enable extraction is true. We're gonna move right along. Multi-game. So this is gonna be for the bigger games on the old school systems. So like if you've got disc 1 and disc 2 and you've got to swap those games out, you're gonna want to set this to enable true. Unlaunch is false. Image media, that's all by default. I don't think I changed anything here, but you do see what you've got in comparison to what I'm showing. Next, we got bezels. You definitely want these on. So you're going to select that to true. And the bezel change, you're going to say the last saved selection, so it remembers what you were using last time. That's just my personal preference. The bezel change keys, so that, again, just like going to pause, if you are wanting to change your bezel, what you're going to do is push the little A button, and what my setup is if I select select and then the A button, or 5H, then it will change the bezel. So it will also change your instruction card if you got those. For MAME, highly recommended. It takes your setup to the next level. So previous bezel, again, you're just setting up your key. It doesn't matter. I mean, we're talking schematics here. I mean, you just set up both of them, but chances are you'll only be using one of them because it loops it when you're changing your bezel. Backgrounds I set to false. Setting files, I'm pretty sure that came standard with the setup, but there you go. And we're almost done, guys. So instruction cards. You're going to want to set this to true. So this is when you're playing Street Fighter or something and you want to, know how to do a Hadouken. I'd be shocked if you don't know how to do that already, but it it does, show on the bezel, how to do that. It's great. So basically you can select all these that I've got. The left menu position, what I've got here is top left, left center, bottom left, bottom center. You're going to bring those over. Same with the right side. You're going to want to do top right, right center, bottom right, top center. And startup invisibility. This looks like, I'm not sure what this was. I'm not sure, guys. So this is a hide all the current showed instruction cards on your screen so you can fully see the gameplay. Oh, I've never done this, guys. So I've set this up for some keys that I don't even know what they are. You guys probably won't use this. Maybe you will. But this is to hide the instruction cards at any given time. I like to see them at all times because it looks nice. We've got the instruction card menu. Basically, the menu off to the left and the instruction card on the right. You can essentially change those. So like if you're Ken, one moment in Street Fighter and then you're Blanca, you can change the bezel so it matches the character that you're selecting here. So that's what these next few things are for. And change active, so I'm going to click that. And basically if I hold down start and I push the left button, that's going to say, okay, I'm going to change the left bezel. And if I push my select key and then I push the right button, it's going to allow me to select the right bezel here to change. So go ahead and set that up just like what you have already done with the other GUI interfaces. So that was the change active. And then we've got the previous. So basically this says if I push, once I've activated the left side, if I've pushed select left, you'll see the bezel or the instruction card sort of blink, or it'll kind of enlarge for a second. That's going to say that that's active. And then if I push select down, it's going to allow me to change my my bezel. So that's changing from Ken to Blanca. If I wanted to, I've got to set up the next button over here. So I just set up the previous here. I'm going to do the same thing with next. So if I do select up, that's going to allow me to go up and change Blanca back to Ken. And I've got player 1 and player 2 set up. So that's my select and up key. What else we got here? So this is that's my select and right trigger or right shoulder button. This is changing the instruction card at the second position. Okay, yeah, this was just me goofing off, guys. You don't need anything here, but you can set something up here just to match my setup here, and you can say that you've got the same setup as Ninja to be seen. Next, we've got ROM mapping, so I'm clicking that tab up at the top. You're going to say enabled is false. First, matching extension is false. Default menu is full list. Single filter match is false. You're going to set these all to false. Show all ROMs, you're going to say true. And everything else I'm pretty sure is default. We've got that important font that you will have to go hunting for on Google. and you'll just open that to install it. And last but not least, we got the plugins tab. So again, you push the little paper icon here, and you type in wheel, game logo, system logo is for main menu. Same thing goes for the artwork. I'm pretty sure this comes by default, but you guys see it here. The video and the disk artwork label is artwork 1. So that is the settings tab. So we are almost, we're getting there, guys. So next we got the emulators. So I'm not going to show you how to set up every one of these, but your general workflow is going to be how you get this done. So you're going to notice here is just a list of all the emulators that come pre-configured, well, the auto hotkeys, if you will. And what you'll do is as you set up a system, so let's say if I set up a AAE, what I'm going to do is double click that, and you're going to basically see the name already pre-populated. You'll want to have an emulators folder, and you'll select the path and select the actual exe, the emulator. You'll do that pushing the magnifying glass. You'll use the ROM extension of zip or whatever file extension they're using for the game. And then the module is going to be the auto hotkey. So this is going to be pre-configured based on those settings that you've already set. That's going to pre-populate there. This virtual emulator is sometimes checked for like PC games, but everything that you see here already in the menu are things that are already up and running for you. All you've got to do is just map the module or the file extensions. You'll see little red exclamation points. These are systems that you do not have set up yet. So if I open up one of those, or it's just blatantly wrong, so you're going to see that they try to find the path for you, and you don't have this on your local drive, so that's why it's opening up. And yeah, there's also sometimes where it's a false positive. So just take it for a grain of salt, guys. Those exclamation points should be not showing up. I mean, these are legit systems that I just don't have going here. I've got PopCap set up, but not under the casual games because that launcher was not working for me. So just when you guys are setting up your systems, just start one system at a time, get it working, and then move on. So yeah, that's all there is to it, guys. I'll go down to the PC launcher just so you can see it. So you can see I don't have this really set up to anything. I've got this PC launcher is the name, and then the module I've got pointed to PC launcher auto hotkey. If you guys are trying to set up your PC games, take a look at my video for setting up PC games. But yeah, as you are setting up a game, you're basically setting up the system, and you want to make sure that all your extensions are in here. So when you double click it, you select MAME, and the path you select to your emulator, and then you put in the ROM extension. So 7Z, zip, CHD, text, and then EXE. You're separating those by pipes, and that will get you going for MAME. And these are your global setups. So when you actually set up the emulator for that wheel, you'll just select the default emulator when you're in that system. So this is literally just to set up the emulator paths. You don't have to do this all at once right now. You'll set up an emulator and then go to emulator under the global setting and map those and put the extensions in. Next, we've got modules. There's nothing here that you need to do. This is basically just giving you an audit of what just happened in the emulators tab. When it's green, that says the thing's working for you. When it's red, it means that it doesn't recognize it, or it's got a wrong header sort of thing like you see here. And that's what this little red alert here is down here at the bottom right as well. It's complaining that there's a emulator INI that's there more than once. It's because I've got 2 instances with different settings for that system. But it doesn't bother me. It's just a little caution icon. Everything works. So yeah, when if it's yellow, this is an auto hotkey that was personally added to get that thing going. So it's not an official version. That's why it's not green. And yeah, that's it, guys. If you want to read the notes for these modules, you just click on one of the rows and you click the little paper pins, and that's going to show you the notes that are in the module that we were looking at before. And this is going to give you specific instructions on how to set up your emulator, some of the settings that you might need, and that's it. So we're going to close that. If you are needing to edit the global settings for a emulator, so I'm going to go down to PC Launcher because that's the best use case of when you'll use that paper icon that says edit. When we go to PC Launcher and we go to edit, you're going to see that there's a number of systems that you can select. Since we are in the global, there's nothing that we're going to be messing with here. I'm going to double click the PC game just so you can see it, but you can see that this is where you select specific games and you have specific instructions for those games. There's really no need to do this under the global setting. You will be using this button when you're setting up individual wheels sometimes, like your PC launcher games, but your general systems, you're not going to be using that. If you wanted to launch the emulator itself, you just click on the emulator that's green and you'll push this launch emulator and it'll pop it right open for you. Next we got games. If you are in a specific wheel, then you can click that and that will allow you to audit your games. You hit the little paper to see them all. If you push the play button, it's going to show you all the games that you have. Notice that everything's green here. You might see things that are red. This will happen when you're setting up your PC games, but generally speaking, outside of that, they should all be red. They should all be green. So the reds are mostly correct in saying that you don't have a game that's in your database folder in Hyperspin. So I'm going to go back to global because I wanted to show you what that system audit was. That stop button, basically if you've got a large wheel and it just keeps on auditing, you can push the stop to stop it. If you wanted to play a game straight from Rocket Launcher to test, the way that it launches in Hyperspin, you would just click the game that was in green there, and then you'd push the little rocket button to launch it. And next we're going to go to full audit tab. This is probably like the second time I've ever opened up this tab. I don't have any reason to go here. Maybe you do. I don't know. So no need for me to do that. I use Hypermint, which I've made a tutorial on to audit my system. Next we got alternate emulators. There's nothing that I've got going on in the global, but in the system wheels, basically if we do Sega Dreamcast, you're going to see that there's alternate emulators. So certain games run better on different emulators. So this is basically just a way, if you push the plus sign, just like what you've seen before, you type in the game name, you select the system, and then you select the emulator. That will basically get the job done here, and that will populate your specific settings for the game. Moving on, we got pause, and we're virtually done, guys. So I'm going to go back to the top here, select global, and in pause you're going to select true because you want to use that. I've got everything selected to true because I like everything there, and I've got media for it. I've got everything set to true here. That shutdown label, that basically shuts down your game, not the actual computer itself. Advanced options, I've got mute emulator on load, I've got set to true, I've got these other things set to false. Parent media, I've got set to true. Yeah, there's your other enable mouse control. I've got no, you could set that to true if you'd like. Everything else is set to defaults. Next we got menu, enable global background, set that to true. Stretch and lose aspect. Show clock, I've got set to true, so that's in pause. Show you what time it is. Play music, you're gonna set all that to true. Enable game music, I've got that to false. I'm pretty sure all that's default. Save load states, I've got set that, yep, to 500. Videos, enable loop. So this is like my commercials, I can watch it and then I'll loop it again. So you're gonna set that to true. Change disk from pause, you're gonna set that to true. And yeah, player name, I've got the initials in there. Next we got appearances. All this is by default, I believe. So there's nothing we gotta do here. Same thing with appearance 2. Just doing a quick scan here. And if it's not default, then you can pause the video and mirror it, but I'm pretty sure all this is default. Yep. Yep. All right, so next we got Keymapper. So I've done a separate tutorial on Keymapper itself. So go ahead and check out my video on how to set up the Keymapper. Basically, there's a tab for auto hotkey. I've got that. Basically, you push the plus sign and then you select the systems that you have. So I've got Hyperspin and then underscore default, but you can see there's no mapper profiles down below. Joy2Key, you're selecting the plus sign, Hyperspin-Rocketlauncher underscore default. And then once you've done that, you're going to select your Hyperspin profile for Hyperspin. You're gonna hit that plus sign. Once you've got Rocket Launcher showing up there, you hit plus sign, select your Rocket Launcher profile, and then underscore default, you're going to select the default profile that you want to set up as you launch your Hyperspin. You'll do the same thing with XPatter, but you can see that's a hot mess. Oh boy, bad memories. XPatter, I'm sorry guys if you like XPatter. I'm sure it works good for you, it just did not work good for me. Next we got the log viewer. So when you click that, your log file, this is going to be where your air log goes. So I've got this set to Rocket Launcher log, and basically I don't have a log here, but you know, if you had an error, basically when you launch a game, you know, when you go to games here and you're under a specific system and you click the game and you hit the rocket here, and let's say it spits an error saying that, you know, your extensions are wrong. It goes uh-oh, and what you do there from there is after that error message goes away, you'll go to log viewer and you'll hit this recycle button here, and it's going to display everything below. Here, maybe I don't want to waste your guys' time. This is such a long video. So if we go, I don't know, we'll do this. See if there's anything there. Nope. Nope. Just perfection, guys. Perfection. Yeah, I don't want to mess with it. So, yeah, so once you push that recycle button, I've got the thread set to all. So it's going to show you every instance that's happening on the back end. You're going to want to select this min logs severity. I select error when I'm trying to troubleshoot. Remember, the troubleshooting feature is on the general settings tab. And minimum logging, I select error because I want everything. You know, this other stuff will be helpful, but error gives you all of this together. And what's nice about it is the issues are in red, the semi-issues are in yellow, and then the green items are past things that are good. Your max error logging, I set to error. I basically want everything, so I select error for both of those. And if you ever have a bind, ask someone for help, and they'll be able to tell you what that stuff means in red, and you'll be able to be on your way. So once you select these two drop downs, you hit the recycle button and it's going to populate here, and you just right click anywhere in here to copy it, and you'll post that on your rocket launcher form. So if you haven't already, make sure that you register to rocket launcher, and yeah, so there's your copy log file contents to keyboard. You can push that as well. All right, guys, we've made it. We are at the rocket launcher UI tab, and this is basically just showing you the settings that you've got set up. You've got the rocket launcher path, you've got the version that you're on, you've got the install libraries, all the different versions you've got, then the DLLs that you have. There's nothing that you need to do there. Next, we've got general options. You've got this checked here, valid modules, and everything else is unchecked there. Startup options, I've got everything checked. Edit options, I've got nothing checked. And then web service, you want to enable on startup. So this is going to make sure that your auto hotkeys for your emulators are up to date and up and running. So just check that, and yeah, that's it. When there's an update, it will just automatically update for you when you open up your rocket launcher. So that is setting up your global settings. I will select the front ends tab just for kicks here, and you're going to push the add new front end. So if you wanted another front end, you're going to want to push the plus sign. You're going to select rocket launcher, and then there's your rocket launcher XE, and you see those are not checked. And then you've got Hyperspin. I've got Hyperspin, my root folder, and then I've got these two checked. So yeah, that's it, guys. You have been through a lot. I appreciate you guys sticking with me, but I promise you it was worth it, or going to be worth it. Yeah, that's setting up your rocket launcher setup. And what I'll do is a very quick tutorial on setting up one of the wheels that you've got in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. So this is going to be a 3-part series. All right.